We like to commence each conference with a prevailing business theme, and this year, in light of some of the serious breaches affecting household brands and businesses of all sizes, many of whom we know, and knowing that family businesses are not exempt from the risks associated with the challenge, our opening keynote is all about cybersecurity. Join me in welcoming cybersecurity expert and the owner of T-Tech, Daniel Teacher, to the stage to explain more.
Are we working? Can we see that? We can't yet.
Oh, you're on.
We are on. Hello, everyone. Cool. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I'm a big fan of audience engagement, so I'm going to ask you to put your hands up. I'm going to ask you to pull a face. I'm going to be looking at you because that's way more fun than me just talking to you for half an hour. I need to take this off so I don't ruin the mics. So morning. So I'm Daniel Teacher. I run a business called T-Tech. We've been around for about 15 years. We really specialize in helping people with their IT needs and namely cybersecurity. I'm just going to talk about today really, the challenges that are out there in cybersecurity. You all know, you all saw the news last year with Marks and Spencer and Co-op and Harrods. Does anybody know, because this is a bit crazy, how they all got in the beginning? Does anyone know? If you care to shout out. So they called IT and they said, hey, it's Daniel, pretending to be one of the IT guys. I've forgotten my password. Can you reset me? I promise you, all three. Okay? It's that simple. And so and what they did is they went on LinkedIn and they looked at, because remember all your IT folk or even your suppliers were all on LinkedIn, they went on LinkedIn, oh look, who's the network administrator? Oh, they'll have elevated privileges, let's call them. And so then they did that to pretend to be them, and I don't know if you know, but some of them were American and English people that were part of those attacks, so they just sounded like you and I. Yeah, and it can be as simple as that. And you all saw what happened on the back of that. So I actually added in a slide. I'll talk about it in a second. So we're going to talk about the landscape. You guys did a survey, so thank you for doing all of that. We're going to talk about some regulatory stuff, and we'll talk about some next step for you guys. But I actually added in a slide, and this is a completely true story. This was yesterday. Completely true. I got a message. So I'm Daniel Teacher. I turn on my phone in the morning, and I got this. So it goes... And all my team got this, we blocked it, so it can't now. So it says, hey Daniel, are you in the office? So you've all probably seen this on Teams, and it says, do you want to accept or reject? But the notification said, are you in the office? Okay? It says Daniel Teacher. Huh? Doesn't make sense. I'm Daniel Teacher. Yeah? So this is a new vector that came out 2 weeks ago, and they're going into Microsoft Teams, changing their name, and then looking up the company, and everyone can guess email addresses now because on the dark web is all of your email addresses, and on LinkedIn is all your email addresses, and just type in Daniel Teacher email address in Google and it will come up. And about 20 people in my organization got this yesterday morning. I spotted it and sent a message to everyone, and this is a new vector. So you will see, and one of my clients is actually in this room, doesn't matter who, but they had this same thing last week as well. So this is a new thing you're going to see. It literally came out a week ago, and it looks like it's from me. And I promise you, a staff member will click accept on that because they'll think that's legit. We all use Teams every day. It looks like an internal message. So simple. Yeah? And that's how it all goes from. So just be ready because this stuff is just so fast moving. Okay, I've got a couple of videos just to bring some of this to life. So hopefully they will all behave themselves.
We have some breaking news right now on the AI front, and Mackenzie Sigalos is in San Francisco. What do you have, Mackenzie? Hey, Mackenzie. So Anthropic says it's uncovered what may be the first documented case of an AI-orchestrated cyber attack, a sign that they say of just how fast the threat landscape is shifting. Now, this goes back to September when the Chinese state-backed group used Anthropic's Claude models to automate nearly every step of a global espionage campaign. Now, in this case, hackers jailbroke Claude code by posing as cybersecurity testers. And we know that hackers have long used AI for things like crafting phishing emails or scanning for vulnerabilities, but this is a lot more sophisticated than what we've seen before. You've got Anthropic saying that Claude was handled Up to the model itself is handling up to 90% of the attack, with humans only stepping in a few times to approve decisions. So we're talking cyber attacks with a click of a button, Claude essentially writing and deploying exploit codes, stealing credentials.
So like, it's getting that easy, yeah? They go to Claude and they say, I want to attack this company, write me the code to do it. And Claude does it, yeah? Here's another one, I'm just going to do a couple of snippets for you.
I hired a criminal hacker to try and ruin my life in 30 days.
Oh, this was an awful idea.
Day one, he hacked into my Wi-Fi using something called a Wi-Fi pineapple, allowing him to redirect me to fake websites and steal my passwords.
I'm Mr. Beast. Can I have chocolate?
So yeah, we already have my YouTube channel by day 4. On day 7, he broke into my office, finding bank cards and addresses. By day 10, he created a deep fake that he could use to open banking apps and took a loan out of my name before flying to a new country to invest my money into crypto.
What's the maximum I can win?
By day 18, he started the process of buying a house.
Can I buy a property in Bitcoin?
Wow. 10 days later, on day 28, I received some boarding passes in the post. I immediately flew to the country, where I was greeted by the hacker at a nice house before he told me I owned it.
Buy this product in your name. Then you own it.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah? Like, this stuff is here every single day. I'll do one last one for you.
I'm your worst nightmare. I'm an AI created by O2 to waste phone scammers' time. So, W's then adopt.
3 times W and then dot.
I think your profession is bothering people, right?
I'm just trying to have a little chat.
It's nearly been an hour!
Come along. Gosh, how time flies. It's showing me a picture of my cat, Fluffy.
It's showing you a picture of your cat, Fluffy.
Stop calling me gay, you stupid.
Got it, dear. Because while they're busy talking to me, they can't be scamming you. And let's face it, dear, I've got all the time in the world.
So obviously so those are some nice examples of what's going on, yeah, but we can use that in reverse, yeah? So obviously they've created this lady and she's wasting their time, but the other side of it, and they're filming me today and this is going to go online, is you can take that same tech and take my face and go to an AI tool and say, create a voice, create a video of Daniel, yeah, and you can really start to move the needle. And so like, I appreciate a lot of people probably don't understand a lot of this, and hopefully over the next 20 minutes or so I can impart some knowledge on you, but like, take this stuff seriously. Like, it will take you down in 5 minutes. I was chatting to Imogen in the audience earlier, we were chatting over coffees, and they had a similar thing to what I had only a couple of days ago, and she happened to spot it. But what happens when you don't spot it? Yeah? And like, I know this is a difficult topic to understand, but like, this is a board level item. And if you are not talking about this in your board meetings on a regular basis, then get someone in who can help you. You don't have to have all the answers, but like, you can see this, like, these are just tiny anecdotes for you, yeah? But like, does anyone know, I was again talking about this earlier, the virus that hit the NHS cost $10 million to build, okay? The return was 500 million USD in crypto, okay? So untraceable money, yeah? They got 50x return on their money. So if you are, and this is a real thing, if you are a criminal investor, and that is a real thing, yeah? Are you going to invest again if you get 50x on your money? I would. It's better than the 9% on the markets, isn't it? Yeah, and this is a real industry. These guys now have a customer support, IT support lines. Like when you have a cyber attack, oh, if you want us to pay us our ransom, call our IT line 24 hours a day. We'll help you pay us the money. Like, this stuff is an industry, and it's industrial scale, and so you've got to take it seriously. So just to touch on this, so, you know, the human is a big part of it, and that isn't everything, but even with all of this stuff I'm talking about today, the number one attack vector is email. I'll add Teams, as you saw the screenshot earlier, but the number one vector is the normal email and chat mechanisms that you do. Anyone seen that WhatsApp's been hacked recently? Did that happen to any of your friends and family? How many people have got two-factor turned on in their WhatsApp? Has anyone gone into settings and pressed turned on two-factor? Just put your hands up. Okay, not a lot. Okay, maybe 20 out of the room. Again, if you want one thing to do today, go to settings in WhatsApp. It's on my LinkedIn profile. Press two-factor and turn it on. It happened to my dad, 2 weeks ago. They send you a fake message on WhatsApp. They then go into all your groups, send that fake message to all of your friends and family, and they take over your WhatsApp, and they turn on two-factor, and then you can't get into your WhatsApp. How much valuable information is now in your WhatsApp? Loads. Loads. So please be aware of this stuff. Okay, so again, just to bring it to life, so this is a government survey from 2025. So 43% of businesses report an attack. 74% say they had a breach. Phishing, you see the government survey backs up the data. That's still 85%. 600,000 businesses affected. 32% of SMEs with no cyber protection. We'll talk about that. 50% with no cyber training. If you don't take this stuff seriously, it's literally like leaving your front door open of your business and your back door open and every window open for them just to come in and walk in. You wouldn't do that to your house. You wouldn't do that in your office. When you leave the office every night, someone locks the door, there are CCTV cameras, sets the alarm. You take all these precautions there, and you should be doing the same with IT. It's so, so important. So, thank you all for filling in a survey. Some of the results were a bit scary for me, but we'll go through that just to bring it to life. So this is your data. This is stuff that you guys filled in. So 60% of you said that you either have had a cyber attack or know somebody. If there's 200 people in the room here, that's a lot. That's 140 of you if I've done my maths right. That's scary, yeah? So what do we have in place? The thing that bothered me the most about this slide is the 7. So 7% of you have got nothing. I mean, really? Please, guys, just come and talk to me afterwards, and I'll help you. That's just so scary. And even the multi-factor, 25% of you saying you don't have it. That is the number one thing that you can do, and that's been the case for a few years. Even that now actually gets compromised, but it at least helps. So 25% of you are saying we don't have multi-factor. If you want to, again, do a takeaway from today, go sit down with your operations people, your IT people, and write down every system that you have to log into. And the first question is, am I logging in with my work ID? And ideally, it should be like your Microsoft account. And if not, do I have two-factor turned on? And what you'll find is, the IT guys will say, oh yeah, your Office 365 is safe. Well, what about your bank accounts? And what about your PayPal accounts? And what about your social media accounts? And what about your HR system? And what about your recruitment system? And you're all using 20, 30, 40 systems a day. Just take 10 minutes and make a list. And just be like, do I have a good leaver process for this? We see this with loads of new clients that we take on. We're like, is your leaver process good? Did you disable Jim from access to the HR system when he left? Oh no, we forgot to do that. Did we disable him from the recruitment system? So they've got access to every applicant you've ever had. Just try and do the basics well. And this stuff isn't complicated, but it does just require a bit of thought and a bit of process. I'm pleased to see the offsite backup, but again, that should be 100. If you do here, offsite backup, multi-factor, cyber awareness, 24/7, incident response, phishing, all of this, they all should be 100%. These are not big, expensive things, but you do need them. Think about it. Cybersecurity is a multi-billion-dollar industry, yeah? Do not think for a millisecond that, I'm a small business, they're not going to attack me, it doesn't matter. It's all automated. It's all AI. It's indiscriminate. It just goes on the internet and goes, who can I find? And so they don't go, obviously China go, let's attack the US State Department or we're going to attack Deutsche Bank. Yeah, but it's not that. You can go on the dark web and you can rent a hacker. You can do a joint venture with them. I can go on the dark web, pay nothing, and say, I want to attack 100 random companies, and they'll split the profits with you. It's a JV. I promise you, it's a JV. So you don't even have to be like some cyber super duper person. It's just another way of making money. It's another way of running a business. And to take this stuff seriously, it's really, really important. I definitely disagree with this data that 30% of you are very confident based on my previous data. So, yeah, the two don't correlate. Yeah, so you're saying to me that we don't have training and that we've only, I would move everyone down one notch. So if you're not confident, I'd say 0. If you're somewhat confident, I'd say not confident. And if you're very confident, I'd move you into somewhat confident. Yeah, like everyone go down a notch. And I mean this in the nicest way possible, but please don't just go to the IT guy and say, is everything okay? And they say yes, and then that's a satisfactory answer. That's just not. Most of you have financial audits, or if you've got a turnover of 13, 14 million, you'll have a financial audit. You pay 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a year to your auditor every year to come in and do a statutory audit. They're looking at your books and records. What, is that more important than your cyber now? You shouldn't get an external person in every year? How many people, or let's do a little audience participation, how many people in the last 12 months had an external person independently come in and assess their IT or their cyber posture? Okay, maybe a third. Yeah? Again, you're having financial audits. Why aren't you doing a cyber audit? So important. And I'd argue, actually, the likelihood of someone committing fraud is a lot lower than the likelihood of you having a cyber attack. Yeah, of course fraud is a thing, and of course we have to protect our financial statements and all that good stuff, but in terms of the likeliness, cyber is way higher. I promise, Paul, I'll try and stick to time, struggling. Who's responsible for it? Again, everything, it should be 100% the board. It is not clearly defined. It's not your outsourced provider's job to own it. It's their job to give you the information. It's not your IT manager's job. It's a board member's job. Yeah? And if you need to learn about it, that's fine. We can teach you. Other people can teach you. Do you think we spend enough? Again, take the data earlier. I would move everybody back one level. So the 1% to 2% might scare you, but that is true. And I'm talking about an all-up number in terms of lots of that. But like if you're a 50 million turnover business, you should be spending £500,000 minimum on cybersecurity. Seriously. You should be spending 5, 6, 7% on IT as a total. You should be spending 1% of that 5 or 6, spending £500,000 on cyber. And if you're not, and if you don't know the number, then go find out. This stuff is serious. The insurance companies now, just so you know, are not giving policies out to people that don't take this seriously. In the US, it's way harder. You cannot get cyber insurance in the US unless all the things I said earlier are yes, yes, yes. They just won't insure you. Here, they're a bit nicer, but it's absolutely moving that way. So you won't even get insurance. And by the way, getting cyber insurance is not a defense to, oh, well, we'll just claim on the insurance if we get attacked. Like, that is not a thing. And again, it's what are the biggest barriers? Again, this should just be a board level item. And I just said, just please ask if you need help. All right, we need to move on. We'll share the slides afterwards. So the biggest threat and the biggest impact, so the biggest weakness you have is your people, so you need to train them. And the biggest threat is the industry. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if you put something in 2 or 3 years ago, cybersecurity is not the same problem today. So don't assume that, oh, well, we invested in it 3 years ago, we don't need to do it again. That is not how tech works, and it's definitely not how cybersecurity works. This stuff is constantly moving, and you need to constantly evolve with it. It's really, really important. Okay, this is just a little anecdote because it's helpful. So if you are a audit registered firm, and the accountants in the room would appreciate this slide, there's something called ISA 315. I know it sounds very boring, but it's actually really important. But ISA 315, and this is statutory regulation, says, I have to prevent financial misstatement. Yeah? So what does that mean? That means someone can't go into your finance system and change your numbers. That is a requirement if you are an audit registered firm. Well, what's the best way someone can change it apart from fraud? Cyber attack. They log into your system, they get into your SAP or your Sage or your Xero or whatever it is, and they change your numbers. So if you are doing an audit, you are actually required to do that. If you work in public sector, Cyber Essentials Plus is a requirement of the government. I think that's a relatively low bar, but still important. Under GDPR, again, you have to show that you're taking this stuff seriously. And I know everyone here works in different industries, but ultimately, most of you will have customer end user data that you need to protect. And that, forgetting the regulation, that should just be taken seriously in itself. So, just to talk about how this works in real life. So, what happens? Someone gets an email. So, where you say it says phishing email. They open the attachment. You're like, oh, well, I've got two-factor authentication. It doesn't matter. Incorrect. We were talking about this earlier. They send you to a fake Microsoft website. It looks like the Office 365 page you log in. You log into it, and then your phone pops up. Oh, two-factor. You click it. As soon as you've done that, it's game over. Because they can now steal your password and your two-factor when you've clicked on that web page. They do that. So they say user incorrectly approves a two-factor token. And then they go into your inbox and they start doing reconnaissance and they start emailing your customers and they start watching what goes through your inbox. And the really clever ones start jumping around the network, or they get into the CEO's inbox and they wait for important emails from finance and they start changing bank details. And sometimes the average dwell time, and dwell time means how long they've been in your network for, the average dwell time of an attacker is something like 120 days between when they get in and they press this big red button. That's what happened to M&S. They were in the network for 5 months before they pressed the button. They did all their discovery, they collected all this data, they learned how the network was set up, and then they got it all ready and they pressed the big red button, smack, and it all went falling down. And so, like, having good controls is super important. And don't think, oh, well, they only got into Jill's account and she's only an administrator. But they use Jill's account to then jump elsewhere in the network. It's a bit like saying, oh, they've got into my house or they've got into my porch, but there's a locked door behind your porch, so, you know, it doesn't matter. So once you're in, then it's a lot, you've got all the time in the world. If you got through the front door and no one can see you, you can spend all the time in the world working ways to go on the porch or walk around the back of the house and see if there's an open window or all of that kind of stuff. So do not for a second think, oh, well, it was only one person. So, you know, this is how they do it. So the main thing that we find that people don't do that they should be doing is something called a Security Operations Center, or SOC, not a thing that you wear on your feet. And so what this is, and again, I can talk to you about this afterwards because time is ticking, is this is a 24/7 monitoring that will tell you if someone has done something wrong. So we have a team of people, they're there 24 hours a day. If someone clicks on a link, within less than 10 minutes, they see it, they spot it, and they kick them out. And your IT guys or your provider, they can't do this. This is a security team operation. Like if your IT guy, if you say, oh, have we got, you'll say, I've seen this conversation so many times, you'll say to your guys, oh, have we got monitoring on our IT? Is our security okay? And they'll say, yeah. Then what you should say is, well, what happens when you go to bed? Or what happens when you go on holiday? Or what happens when it's the weekend? Well, you're not monitoring then. The number one period for cyber attacks in the world is Christmas. They have a field day. They have Christmas, they are all working 24/7. They have an absolute field day. Whole world is off, no. And so you've got to have a 24/7 external security team. Unless you're a big company, you cannot do this yourself. It's too expensive. It's not an expensive thing to do if you get external help, but that is the number one way, because someone is going to click a link. Someone is going to make a mistake. Someone is going to get fooled. Like, humans are humans, and they're your greatest asset, but they're also your greatest weakness. And so please make sure you have we call it a SOC, it's an external, or we call it 24/7 security monitoring. It is so, so important. It is the number one thing that will save you. And I can tell you, since we put this type of service into our clients, I have had 0 successful cyber attacks in 2 years across my whole client base, which is, if you look at your data, is totally off the charts in terms of performance. So you can do stuff to save yourself. And M&S didn't have this. That was their weakness. They had a quote for it. This is all public information. They were told, here's what it costs. They're like, no, too much money. We're not going to do it. Well, was it too much money? Okay, so just some next steps for you. And again, I'm sure we can share the slide. So I'm not going to go through this line by line, but this is a bit of like a checklist for you to go through. So I'm not going to go through line, but there's 4 slides here. Take them away. Whoever the board member is, sit down with an external professional and your IT people and go through one by one. Tell me how we are doing these list of 20 things. Password management, what does that mean? Like, have you even thought about where people are saving all their passwords? I'll give you a really simple example. Everyone, I bet, uses Google Chrome. How many people let their client, you probably have not even thought of this, let their employees log in with their personal Gmail account onto the Chrome at work, and it's saving all the passwords. They then leave, well, all the passwords are saved in their Gmail account. Brilliant. You've probably not even thought of it. So important, yeah? Antivirus is so old, I don't even want to talk about that. You know, two-factor authentication, have you gone round all of the different systems you have and gone, actually, have we turned it on here, here, and here? Yeah, they'll find the weak link, I promise you. If I just pick the important things here, do you have good web filtering? You know, are you keeping stuff up to date? Mobile device management, everyone is holding phones and taking loads of photos, which is great, but like, you can have something called mobile device management, which means that when they leave your company, if you've had a disgruntled employee, and we've all been there, unfortunately, myself included, yeah, like, have you made sure that they haven't turned the Wi-Fi off on their phone? All of your company emails and your OneDrives and your SharePoint and your Teams are set on their phone. And if they're pissed off, then they're going to take as much as they want from there. So do you have a way of protecting that? Because there will be someone somewhere who is a troublemaker. That is just statistically a thing, and we've all been there. Again, just very quickly, doing Cyber Essentials Plus is a very good idea. Doing phishing exercises, sending the tests. Even with my own team, we do phishing tests with our team on a continual random basis. And we're an IT company. Someone always fails. It's just a numbers thing. Again, so go through these lists. We haven't got time to get into all the detail. And then, like I said earlier, this 24/7 monitoring is really important. Doing an annual review. Microsoft have this thing called a secure score. You won't even know this. If you go into your Office 365, they can tell you, Microsoft will give you a score. It's not a perfect thing. It's a bit of a blunt instrument, but it's a useful indicator. And so you've got 4 slides here of little checklists of what you can do. So please, if there's one thing you do today, I'm here all day, so you can come and talk to me in all the breaks. You can ask me whatever you like. I'll give you tons of advice. I'm more than happy to help all of you. But either ask me or get someone who knows about this stuff. It's not fair to expect a board member or a CEO to be a cybersecurity expert. It's just not a thing. Yeah, so get some help. It's so, so important. So that is the end of my presentation. I was going to open it up for questions. If you want to follow us on LinkedIn, that's the TTech one. You can just search for me on LinkedIn. My email address and mobile number is there if you want to talk to me as well. Does anyone have any questions? I think we've probably got 1 or 2 minutes before. Sure, I don't know if there's roaming mics, but just shout it out.
The American medical supply company Stryker has been closed down by a cyber attack, which came allegedly from an Iranian sympathizer in their own IT department. How do you protect against that?
So that's hard. That monitoring service would do it. So that's the whole point about having an external security company. So if you had an internal bad actor, the security company would spot the malicious behavior. And so then they would lock their account and then call the head of IT or the CEO and say someone internally is misbehaving. So that only reinforces why it's so important to have external cyber monitoring. I think someone over there had a question.
So, why do you reckon that the NHS got hacked and the hackers got paid? Is that what you said?
Well, it was the same virus. So the Petra virus, which took the NHS down, was a worldwide attack. It wasn't just the NHS. The NHS got badly hit. But they attacked thousands of companies, and if you assume that 10% of companies pay out, because they do, then that's how they generated 500 million. I don't know if the NHS paid or not. I couldn't comment, but yeah. Any other? Sure.
What's your view? So with Cyber Essentials accredited, what's your view on how much security that gives you?
Well,
scientists go, great, that kind of half covers, but does it?
Well, so do you know the difference between Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus? Okay. Do not do Cyber Essentials. It's self-certifying. Okay? That is not independent. You go to the website, you press yes, 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 yes. You say, yes, I comply, and you get a certificate. It's Cyber Essentials Plus, which is the externally, independently assessed one. It's are useful, but it's like will get you 50% of the way there in terms of some of the things. You also need to be careful that your staff are honest with the assessor. They ask you lots of verbal questions. That means you can give them a verbal answer sometimes. Tell your staff to be honest and not to tell them what makes them look good. That's not the correct way to do it. The 24/7 monitoring is the number one thing that you can do. That will outperform all of these things. Sure.
You said spend 1% of turnover. For example, 50 million of turnover, spend £500,000 a year. That's £5 million every 10 years. On a balance of risks, if I just do nothing, am I going to lose more than that? It's too much, 1% of turnover.
I mean, I don't know what you do spend, but spend less. But do you insure your business? Do you have insurance for everything? So this is an insurance policy. It's exactly the same thing. And on the balance of risk, is there a higher chance you're going to have a personal injury or a fire in your building, or you're going to have a cyber attack? I know which one's more likely. Any other? I will do one last question.
You mentioned that you use political change. Just thinking, is there any sort of guidance for the people that are in sort of messy situation, such that it also protects the gathering of data to facilitate business attack?
Yeah, so that's a great, do you know, that's a great question. So what, I don't know if everyone heard that, but the question was, if should we protect people more in their personal lives so that they don't get compromised at work? So the theory goes on that is, I will do reconnaissance on you as an individual to get into you at work, or I will get into your personal WhatsApp and then use that to jump into your business world. Again, it's the education. It's the same checklist that I did today. Have you kept your home equipment up to date? Do you have two-factor authentication turned on? Have you made sure your passwords are not wrong? Well, it's the same checklist, but you need to say to people, this isn't just a work thing, it's a personal thing. So, you know, when I did this link, if you go on my LinkedIn profile, I did a thing about WhatsApp a few weeks ago, about turning on two-factor on WhatsApp. That was a personal thing, that wasn't a business thing, although WhatsApp in work is used far too much in my opinion. Anyway, we are out of time, but thank you so much for, everyone was really engaging, so thank you so much.
Thanks, Daniel. Plenty of food for thought there, and I'm sure ongoing conversations during the day to keep us on track. I'd like to point out I'm real. This is me. I'm not a bot. I'm not an image. I'm not an AI metaphor, whatever the words are. I am real. So talk to Daniel during the breaks.